What would you do if one day you discovered that the child you have loved, nurtured, and built an empire for, may not be your own? Adanna Okafor had everything a woman could dream of. She was young, intelligent, beautiful, and the CEO of Adanna Luxury Group, a thriving multinational fashion empire that had grown from a small tailoring shop she started after university. With branches across Africa, Europe, and even America, she was celebrated as one of Africa's most influential businesswomen. At her side was her husband, Kenneth Okafor, a charming, smooth-talking lawyer with the kind of charisma that made people trust him instantly. Together, they looked like the perfect couple, the ones on magazine covers, the kind young entrepreneurs dreamed of becoming. But what most people didn't know was that beneath the glitter of their marriage lay cracks. Kenneth was not just charming, he was dangerously ambitious, and unlike Adanna, he had not built anything of his own. He was comfortable living under her success, driving her cars, attending charity events as Mr. Adanna Okafor, but deep down, he wanted more. He wanted ownership. And then, there was Chika, Adanna's executive assistant. Quiet, respectful, and always 2 steps behind Adanna, she seemed like the perfect employee, loyal, efficient, and dedicated. But Adanna had no idea that behind her soft smiles and, yes, ma'am, responses, Chika was harboring a deadly secret. She was Kenneth's mistress. When Adanna got pregnant, she was overjoyed. She and Kenneth had tried for years without success, and when she finally conceived, it felt like God had blessed her. Coincidentally, Chika also got pregnant around the same time. To Adanna, it was nothing unusual. After all, women got pregnant every day. But to Kenneth and Chika, it was both a blessing and an opportunity. Kenneth, tired of being overshadowed by his wife, whispered poisonous ideas into Chika's ear. He painted a picture of a life where their child would grow up in wealth and power, inheriting Adanna's empire. They could switch the babies at birth. Adanna would unknowingly raise Chika's child, thinking it was hers, and when the time was right, Kenneth and Chika would claim everything. It was a wild, dangerous plan, but Chika agreed. The day of the delivery came. Both women were admitted into the same luxurious hospital ward. Adanna delivered a healthy baby boy just minutes before Chika did. Later that night, when Adanna was asleep, she woke briefly to get a glass of water and overheard voices just outside her room. It was Kenneth and Chika. Kenneth, whispering, "Finally, our future is secure." She has no idea. By tomorrow, our baby will be hers, and hers will be ours. She will raise our son in luxury while we take everything. Chika, giggling softly, and the best part is she will thank me every day for being so loyal. She will never know that her empire is raising my blood. Adanna froze, her heart pounding. She realized with horror what they were planning. Her own husband and her trusted assistant, plotting to rob her of her child, her blood, her legacy. But Adanna was no ordinary woman. She didn't scream, she didn't confront them. Instead, she waited. And when the nurses came in the early hours of the morning, she quietly gave them different instructions. The babies were switched, but not in the way Kenneth and Chika planned. Adanna made sure her biological son stayed with her, and Chika unknowingly went home with her own child, believing it was Adanna's. The years went by, and life unfolded in strange, almost poetic ways. Adanna raised her son, Obinna, with love, discipline, and care. He grew up intelligent, kind, and respectful, the perfect heir to her empire. Even Chika, whenever she visited the house, couldn't help but admire Obinna. She would hold him, play with him, and whisper to Kenneth, "He will be ours one day. Just wait." Meanwhile, the boy in Chika's house, Emeka, grew up neglected. Chika often mistreated him, thinking he was Adanna's son, the child she was secretly envious of. She scolded him for every mistake, compared him unfavorably to Obinna, and never showed him the love of a mother. To her, he was just a pawn, Adanna's child, the one she was forced to raise while her own was living in wealth. She had no idea that the boy she mistreated was her own flesh and blood. By the time Adanna turned 18, he had already started showing signs of being a natural leader. Adanna was proud of him, grooming him to take over the company. At the same time, Chika and Kenneth grew impatient. They had waited too long. Now was the time to strike. During a grand family dinner, Kenneth stood up with a smug smile and announced. "Kenneth, Adanna, it's time the truth came out. The boy you call your son, he's not yours. He's mine and Chika's. We switched the babies the day he was born. Which means everything you've given him, the company, the wealth, the inheritance, belongs to us." The room fell silent. Gasps echoed. Chika nodded proudly, standing beside Kenneth. They were so sure they had finally won. But Adanna only smiled. A calm, almost pitying smile. "Adanna, are you certain about that?" Confused, Kenneth and Chika exchanged glances. "Adanna, firmly, you both thought you outsmarted me. But I knew your plan from the very beginning. I heard you that night. And I made sure my son stayed with me. The boy you raised, the one you treated like trash, is your own blood. And the child you see here, the one I trained with love, is mine." The revelation was like thunder striking the room. Kenneth's mouth fell open. Chika staggered backward, her face pale. All those years, all their plotting, all their arrogance, and they had been raising their own child in suffering while Adanna's son grew in glory. The fallout was brutal. Kenneth begged for forgiveness, but Adanna was done with him. She filed for divorce immediately, her lawyers moving with speed and precision. Kenneth's reputation crumbled, his career destroyed by scandal. Chika, on the other hand, faced the bitter truth of her own actions. Her son, Emeka, resented her deeply for the way she had treated him all his life. No amount of tears or apologies could erase the years of pain. Meanwhile, Adanna and Adanna flourished. She officially handed over the empire to him, and he proved to be even greater than she had imagined, expanding the company globally, all while staying humble and loyal to his mother. Adanna found peace in knowing she had outwitted betrayal with wisdom, patience, and love. She stood tall as a symbol of resilience, the woman who lost nothing, even when her enemies thought they had taken everything. In the end, this tale teaches us. Betrayal can come from those closest to you, but wisdom and patience will always outshine deceit. A child raised with love will always thrive, while a child deprived of love will never forget. And above all, destiny cannot be stolen. What is yours will always find its way back to you. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting stories.